Let's be real for a second. Most people walking around broke? It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're dumb. It's because they're living inside a lie they don't even know exists. You've probably heard this lie your whole life. Maybe in school, maybe at home, maybe from that first job that paid you just enough to stay stuck. The lie goes like this: if I just work hard enough, everything will be okay. Or maybe, I'm just not good with money. Sound familiar? Here's the thing, those phrases don't come from truth. They come from survival mode. And survival mode teaches you to focus on today's bills, not tomorrow's freedom. It teaches you to believe that struggling with money is normal, that wanting more is greedy, and that wealth is for those people, not you. But let me ask you something. If working hard was the golden ticket, why do some of the hardest working people you know still live paycheck to paycheck? Why is that woman pulling double shifts at the hospital still worried about rent? Why is your uncle, who never missed a day of work, still talking about retiring someday when he's pushing 65? Because the system feeds off that lie. It conditions you to be a worker, not a builder. A consumer, not a creator. And before you know it, that belief, that quiet whisper of "I guess this is just how life is," becomes your identity. Not because it's true, but because it's repeated. You don't question it. You don't challenge it. You just live it. Let's take it deeper. That voice in your head that says, "I'll never be rich," that's not your voice. That's your dad's frustration when he got laid off. That's your mom's stress when the bills piled up. That's the teacher who told you to get a safe job and stop dreaming. That's trauma disguised as wisdom. And here's the wild part. That lie feels comfortable. Why? Because the truth is scary. The truth means responsibility. The truth means you have to unlearn, rebuild, and believe you're capable of more. But let me be clear. You were not born to struggle. You were born into a mindset that normalized struggle. And the lie isn't just keeping you broke financially, it's keeping you broke mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because how you think about money is how you think about yourself. So if you've been stuck in this loop, working harder, earning the same, never feeling safe, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's the programming you were handed. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to burn that script and write a new one. Because once you spot the lie, you can stop living it. You ever stop and wonder why you think the way you do about money? Like, really think about it? Because most people don't. They just accept their beliefs as facts, when in reality, those beliefs were handed to them before they could even understand what a dollar meant. Think about it. When you were a kid, money wasn't numbers on a spreadsheet. It was emotional. It was energy. It was the look on your parents' faces when a bill came in. It was hearing "we can't afford that" over and over until you stopped asking. It was watching stress silently fill the room when the rent was due, or hearing arguments in the kitchen about credit card debt. You weren't taught about money, you absorbed it. And here's the kicker: kids don't filter. You didn't go, "Oh, maybe mom is just stressed because of poor financial planning." No. You went, "Money makes people upset. I guess I shouldn't want too much of it." So you learned to associate wanting more with tension, with guilt, with danger. And the beliefs started piling up. Money is hard to get. Rich people are greedy. I'll never be one of those people. None of that was yours. But it became yours. Now fast forward 20 years. You're an adult, trying to build a life. You've got a job, responsibilities, dreams maybe. But deep down, there's this invisible ceiling above you. You don't know why you self-sabotage every time you start saving. You don't know why you feel guilty asking for a raise, or uncomfortable raising your rates if you run a business. Let me tell you why. Because your subconscious is still playing the childhood script. And that script says, stay small. Don't ask for too much. Just be grateful. It's no wonder you feel stuck. You're trying to chase financial freedom with beliefs built in a survival mindset. That's like trying to download a 2025 app on a 1998 flip phone. It just doesn't run. And I get it, your parents did the best they could with what they knew. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. Because if no one ever told you that your beliefs about money were learned, you'd never question them. You'd keep thinking they were truth. But here's the thing, beliefs can be rewritten. And the first step is realizing they're not your fault, but they are your responsibility now. See, once you understand that what you believe about money isn't a reflection of your potential, but a reflection of your past environment, something clicks. It doesn't instantly solve everything, but it creates a crack in the wall. And through that crack, light starts to come in. Possibility. Power. Choice. You don't have to keep living by someone else's story. You can choose a new one. But you can't heal what you don't first recognize. And now that you've seen it, you're already one step ahead of 99% of people still running on autopilot. There's a moment, and maybe you felt this, where something inside you whispers, this can't be all there is. You've done what you were told. Worked hard. Paid your bills. Tried to be responsible. But somehow, you're still stressed, still stuck, still feeling like money controls your life instead of the other way around. And the truth is, it's not just about the money. It's about the relationship you have with money, and more importantly, with yourself. You were raised with beliefs that kept you small, that made you feel like wanting more was wrong. But what if I told you the real problem isn't that you want too much, it's that you've been taught to settle for too little? Here's the mindset shift. Money isn't evil. It's a tool. And like any tool, its impact depends on who's holding it. A hammer can build a home or break a window. It's not about the hammer, it's about the hands that hold it. Same with money. The idea that money corrupts people? That's just another excuse we've been fed to justify staying broke. But you and I both know, money doesn't create character. It reveals it. And the sooner you start seeing money as neutral, as something that reflects your beliefs, your values, and your habits, the sooner you take your power back. Because here's what no one tells you. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. If deep down you believe you're not meant to be wealthy, that belief will sabotage every raise, every opportunity, every moment you start to rise. You'll spend it all. Underprice your work. Say yes when you should say no. You'll shrink to fit the old story because it feels safe, even if it's suffocating. So how do you break the cycle? Start simple. Get real with yourself. Ask, what do I actually believe about money? Write it down. All the ugly stuff. All the shame. All the fears. Then ask, where did I learn that? 9 times out of 10, you'll trace it back to someone else's fear. Now here's the power move. Flip the script. For every limiting belief, write a new one. I'm not good with money becomes, I'm learning to manage money like a leader. Money always causes problems becomes, I use money to solve problems and create freedom. Don't wait to feel ready. Belief doesn't come before action. It comes through action. You rewire your mindset one choice at a time. Every time you budget instead of avoid. Every time you raise your price. Every time you ask yourself, what would the future empowered version of me do here? You're breaking generational cycles. And that version of you? The one who feels calm, confident, and in control of money? They already exist. You're just removing the layers of lies to get to them. So yeah, it might feel uncomfortable. But growth always does. And let's be honest, staying stuck is uncomfortable too. You just have to decide which discomfort you're willing to live with. Because once you realize you were never bad with money, you were just playing with a rigged playbook. That's the moment everything starts to change. You were sold a dream. Wrapped in red, white, and blue. Packaged with hard work, white picket fences, and the promise that if you just did everything right, went to school, got the job, paid your dues, you'd make it. You'd have the house, the freedom, the life your parents never had. But let's be honest, the American dream? For a lot of people, it's starting to feel more like a financial nightmare. Because somewhere along the way, it stopped being about freedom and turned into debt. It stopped being about ownership and turned into survival. And most people are too busy working to even notice they're trapped. Think about it. How many people do you know who went tens of thousands into student debt for a degree they don't even use? Who were told college was the only path to success, only to end up with a job that barely covers their rent. It's not laziness. It's a system built to keep you just comfortable enough to not ask questions. You graduate into a world that hands you credit cards before you get your first paycheck. Build your credit, they say. But what they really mean is, start the cycle. Buy now, pay later. Live beyond your means, then work your whole life to catch up. That's not freedom. That's a treadmill. And the speed keeps increasing. We're constantly being bombarded with messages. Upgrade your car. Remodel your kitchen. Take the vacation, you deserve it. And you do deserve nice things. But not if they cost you your peace of mind. See, no one teaches you how to manage money, how to build wealth, or how to separate your self-worth from your net worth. But they'll sure teach you how to borrow, how to spend, and how to keep chasing a lifestyle that looks rich but feels hollow. And that's the trap, looking wealthy instead of being free. Social media makes it worse. You're scrolling through highlight reels of people who seem to have it all: the cars, the clothes, the lifestyle. But you don't see the credit card statements. You don't see the anxiety. You don't see the sleepless nights. So you start measuring your life against an illusion. And every swipe makes you feel a little more behind. But here's the truth no one tells you. The system is not designed for you to win. It's designed for you to keep working, keep spending, and keep believing that someday things will get better, as long as you just keep your head down. But you don't break out of a trap by working harder. You break out by waking up. Waking up to the fact that buying more stuff won't fill the void. That chasing validation through things will never give you peace. That freedom doesn't come from the outside, it starts in your mindset. It starts when you question the dream they sold you. When you stop trying to fit into a system that was never built for your liberation. Because here's the thing, real wealth? It's not about owning more. It's about owing less. And when you finally stop chasing the version of success that's breaking you, that's when you can start building the life that actually sets you free. No one really talks about it. It's not something you bring up at brunch or post about on Instagram. But it's there. Heavy. Quiet. Always lingering just beneath the surface. That pit in your stomach when you overdraft your account. That voice in your head when someone mentions how much they saved, or invested, or earned last month. It's called money shame. And it's eating people alive. See, money shame doesn't scream. It whispers. It whispers, you should have known better. You're so behind. Look at you, still struggling. And because no one talks about it, you assume you're the only one feeling it. But let me be clear, you are not alone. Millions of people are stuck in this exact place. They've got decent jobs. They're doing what they can. And yet, they feel like failures. Not because they're failing, but because they believe they should be further ahead. That's the trap of comparison culture. You measure your worth by what others seem to have figured out. But what you don't see is their credit card debt, their sleepless nights, or the financial chaos they keep behind closed doors. You just see the filtered version, and wonder why you don't measure up. But this goes deeper than social media. It goes back to identity. When you grow up hearing phrases like money changes people or rich people are bad, your brain makes a connection. It wires the idea that having more automatically makes you less good, less humble, less real. So even when you do start making more, the guilt creeps in. You downplay your wins. You feel uncomfortable talking about what you earn. You might even sabotage it altogether, spending recklessly or undercharging, just to get back to that safe zone of struggle that feels familiar. Sound familiar? That's the psychological chokehold of shame. It tells you that wealth isn't for people like you. That if you succeed, you'll lose yourself. That if you raise your prices, people will leave. That asking for more makes you selfish. But shame is a liar. And the longer you let it lead, the more power it has over your choices. You stay in jobs that underpay. You avoid looking at your finances. You reject opportunities because deep down, you don't feel worthy. Here's what no one told you growing up. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy. Charging what you're worth isn't arrogance. Being wealthy doesn't mean you've sold your soul. It means you've finally decided to stop carrying the emotional weight of generational scarcity. Because here's the truth: the shame you feel around money isn't yours. It's inherited. From parents who struggled. From cultures that glorified lack. From systems that told you good people stay small. But you weren't meant to stay small. And the moment you stop letting shame drive the car, the moment you say, "I deserve better, and I'm not apologizing for it," that's when you start reclaiming your financial life. Not from a place of greed. From a place of healing. And healing? That's the real flex. There's this fear a lot of people carry, sometimes hidden, sometimes loud, that if they ever become rich, they'll somehow become someone else. Maybe someone colder. Arrogant. Out of touch. You've probably heard it, or even said it yourself: "I don't want money to change me." But here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. Money doesn't change you. It exposes you. It's a mirror, not a mask. See, money has no personality. It doesn't come with morals, values, or a playbook. It just amplifies whatever is already inside you. If you're generous, you'll be generous with money. If you're reckless, money will make that recklessness louder. If you're insecure, money won't fix it. It'll just give you more ways to overcompensate. And this matters, because a lot of people are waiting. Waiting to feel different. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting until they've earned it to see themselves as someone who deserves wealth. But what they don't realize is that your relationship with money right now, even with just a few dollars, is the training ground for everything that comes later. So if today you're avoiding your bank account, constantly feeling anxious about bills, or spending money to fill emotional voids, it won't magically stop when your income goes up. It'll grow with it. That's why the inner work matters. Not just to attract money, but to hold it. To steward it. To direct it with intention instead of letting it control you. Because if you secretly believe you're not worthy of wealth, you'll find ways to push it away. Not consciously, but through tiny decisions that add up. You'll say yes to clients that underpay. You'll feel awkward negotiating your salary. You'll give discounts before people even ask. Why? Because your identity hasn't caught up with your potential. That's the real issue. Not your skills. Not your work ethic. Your identity. You still see yourself as someone who struggles, someone who gets by. And here's the dangerous part: that version of you feels comfortable. Because struggle is familiar. Scarcity is familiar. Feeling like you're always one step behind? Familiar. But that comfort is keeping you broke. Because wealth requires expansion. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You can't grow your bank account if you're still shrinking your self-worth. So the shift isn't just practical, it's personal. It's looking in the mirror and saying, "I can be trusted with more. I can do good with more. I'm allowed to have more without losing myself." It's giving yourself permission to dream without guilt. To succeed without apology. To walk into rooms where you used to shrink and take up space. You don't need to become someone else to build wealth. You need to become more of who you actually are, once you remove the shame, the fear, the survival scripts. Because deep down, you already know how to show up with heart, with integrity, with purpose. Money won't change that. It'll just give you a bigger platform to express it. If you've made it this far, it means you're already starting to see the cracks in the old mindset. The story you've been living, that struggle is noble, that wealth isn't for you, that you're not good with money, it's starting to feel heavier. Outdated. Like software that won't run on the life you actually want to live. And that's exactly what this is: outdated mental code. Most people never update it. They grow older, get promoted, start families. But they're still running on the same belief system they absorbed at age 8. Still making decisions based on fear, scarcity, and inherited guilt. Still reacting instead of designing. But here's the shift that changes everything: your mind is programmable. And right now, it's time to install a new operating system. One that isn't based on lack. One that doesn't panic when you check your bank account. One that allows you to dream big, spend with peace, save with clarity, and invest with confidence. So how do you start? You start by getting intimate with your thoughts, the ones that whisper, not scream. Every time you say, "I can't afford that," ask yourself, is that a fact or a belief? Every time you feel guilt around wanting more, pause and ask, who told me this was wrong? Awareness is the first form of power. Because once you're aware, you can interrupt the pattern. Then comes reprogramming. And no, this isn't some overnight magic trick. This is about intention, consistency, ownership. It starts with language. Your words are scripts your brain believes. So start speaking in alignment with who you're becoming, not who you've been. I'm broke becomes I'm learning to manage my money more wisely. I'm not a numbers person becomes I'm building financial intelligence, step by step. You don't have to lie to yourself. Just tell a better version of the truth. Next, create rituals that reinforce the mindset. Look at your numbers weekly, even if it's scary. Especially if it's scary. Track your spending without shame. Name your goals. Write them down. Speak them out loud. Do journaling prompts like, what did I learn about money that no longer serves me? Or what does wealth look like for me emotionally, not just financially? Because reprogramming is emotional work. It's peeling off the labels you didn't choose. It's healing the voice that says you're not enough. It's proving, every single day, that you are no longer available for the life that keeps you small. And listen, you won't always get it right. Some days you'll fall back into old habits. You'll overspend. You'll undercharge. You'll doubt yourself. But that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're rewiring. And rewiring takes time. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's choosing again and again to believe in your ability to grow, to trust yourself with money, to take full ownership, not out of pressure, but out of power. Because once you start thinking like someone who deserves financial freedom, you stop tolerating the habits that keep you from it. And from that place, change becomes inevitable. You've probably realized by now, the biggest thing keeping you stuck isn't your paycheck, your job, or even the economy. It's the mindset you've been carrying like a weight you forgot you were holding. And once you see it, really see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing the patterns. The thoughts that keep looping. The financial habits that don't make sense, but feel strangely familiar. The moments where you play small, not because you want to, but because it's what you've always done. It's wild how deep it goes, right? The scarcity. The guilt. The way you flinch at the idea of charging what you're worth, or dream about financial freedom only to immediately shrink it down to something more realistic. That's not you being humble. That's your programming trying to protect you from the unknown. But here's the moment of truth. Staying broke might feel safer, but it's not. It's exhausting. It's soul-draining. It eats at your confidence day by day, telling you to be grateful, while you quietly wonder if life was supposed to be more than bills, stress, and survival. And it was. You weren't meant to just cope with life. You were meant to create it. But that creation starts with ownership. Not just of your bank account, but of your beliefs. Because here's something most people never hear. Your financial reality is not a life sentence. It's a reflection of repeated choices. And those choices are driven by identity. So if you want to change your finances, you don't just budget. You transform who you believe you are. Not someday. Now. And I'm not saying it's easy. It takes unlearning. It takes sitting with discomfort. It takes admitting that maybe your parents were wrong. That maybe what you learned about money from your culture, your school, your church, your friends, wasn't designed for your freedom. That hurts. But it also liberates. Because once you realize you've been living in a mental prison, you can finally find the door. And more than that, you can open it. This journey? It's not about chasing millions just to flex on Instagram. It's about emotional peace. It's about not flinching when a bill comes in. It's about choosing to work, not because you have to, but because you want to. It's about breaking generational patterns so your kids don't grow up with the same scarcity you inherited. It's about building a version of wealth that fits who you are, values and all. And if that vision pulled at something inside you, if you felt even a flicker of, this is what I've been needing, then don't ignore it. That's not just motivation. That's a deeper part of you remembering who you really are. So if this hit you, don't just nod and move on. Revisit this. Sit with it. Because reprogramming your money mindset, that's the first real investment. And if you're ready to go deeper, to keep peeling back the layers, rewriting the code, and building real financial peace, then stick around. I'll be right here, helping you shift that mindset, one thought at a time.